Yeah. You know you fucked up, right? Mystic full time in the house. Let's get it. With so much drama in this day and age, it's kinda hard being full-time MMA, but I somehow, some way, keep coming up with content for my hitters like every single day. Now let's get to this nigga Snoop, disrespecting McGregor, thinking that shit was cute. Calling Conor a bitch, what the fuck does that make you? You ain't no big dog, old nigga, you a pooch. And keep it real, Conor didn't even fucking lose. Fook the Mayweathers made $1 million off them dudes, and that's in a pillow fight. Boxing ain't no real fight. How we get knockouts to walk out looking like $1 million likes? Snoop, I think you sipping too much gin and juice, cause something's gotten into you. What the fuck you thinking dissing one of the dudes getting you paid? Now a lot of people don't like you, got them on Twitter yelling hashtag fire Snoop. Biatch. Full time in the house. Mystic full time in the house. Hold up, we ain't fucking done, cause Snoop came back screaming fuck Donald Trump while watching Woodley beat on Till. Look brother, you need to chill. Darren ain't American, you must be off the weed and pills, the speed and seals. Cup filled with lean in the vodka. Snoop Doggy Dogg seems to be off his rocker. You don't really want any beef, this ain't boxing. This is MMA, will bring the knees up to your face or take you down and beat you on the ground. Khabib, when I speak to you between every pound, you'll be bleeding, I'll leave your ass up face down. Pause, walking around with no teeth, making not a sound. Super pause. Full time in the house. Mystic full time in the house. Subscribe to UFC Yankovic. I don't get to eat no beef, all I get to eat is chicken. When I'm all alone and I'm cutting weight, I tend to get in my feelings, and all I want is that cow. Don't pass me no chicken, I'm gonna cut all of my weight away, then fuck all this nutrition. Everybody acting suspicious, might probably say that I'm tripping, cause I just ate a whole plate of ribs and I'm fighting in a few minutes. But I got tired of all that rice, got tired of all that spinach, got tired of all them vegetables, cause every time I wake up in the morning I got burgers on my mind. Lettuce, pickles, ketchup, and tomatoes all on mine. And all these pussy niggas hating, but they really want my fries, but I can't let them do it. I got burgers on my mind, bitch, I got burgers on my mind. 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 Bust down, I'm a Eunice, bust down, I'm a Eunice. They wanna see me bust down, beat her up, then take that bitch crown. Beat her up, then take that bitch down. It's not a game, not a game. Bust her, bust down, bust her, bust her, bust down. It's not a game, not a game. Bust down, I'm a Eunice, bust down, I'm a Eunice. They wanna see me bust down, beat her up, then take that bitch crown. Beat her up, then take that bitch down. It's not a game, not a game. Bust her, bust down, bust her, bust her, bust down. It's not a game, not a game. I ain't a new face, baby. No, I ain't. I'm every woman's nightmare. Beat your ass, little bitch, and I don't fight fair. Hit you with the pipe with your man standing right there. I'm the baddest chick in the UFC. Don't a bitch at 115 know what to do with me. I'm the queen, or I will be when I beat you. I know Pat gon' wanna kill me when he see you. This not a game, not a game. You must be high off them drugs. Think you tapped that blunt 2 times too much. If a bitch relax against me, guarantee I put that bitch on her back, you gon' catch these damn hands. I eat the pussy up, now it's a lesbo scene. Give a bitch a reach around, ain't a bitch that can beat me down, ain't a bitch that can keep me down. So now I gotta put down, I'm a unit, they wanna see me bust down. Now take that bitch down. Yeah, now make that bitch tap, not a game. I said take that bitch down. Yeah, now make that bitch tap, it's not a game. Bust down, I'm a unit, bust down, I'm a unit. They wanna see me bust down. Beat her up, then take that bitch down. Beat her up, then take that bitch crown. It's not a game. Bust her, bust down, bust her, bust down. It's not a game. Bust down, I'm a unit, bust down, I'm a unit. They wanna see me bust down. Beat her up, then take that bitch crown. Beat her up, then take that bitch down. It's not a game. Bust her, bust down, bust her, bust down. It's not a game. What is going on, full-time family? It is time to start the show. But first, let me get the pop-out screen on the pop-out chat on the screen. I see Susie C, Ryan Condon, and Marcus Bell in the building early. What is going on, everybody? Of course, we were on our second channel, UFC Yankovic, for the next about 20 days, and then we can stream on our main channel again. Let's fix the chat box so we can get the chat on the screen. All right, properties, and then boom, here we go. We're going to be talking on today's show about Conor McGregor flexing. Pop the molly, he's flexing over here. Now, Conor McGregor is flexing, man, and he called in the process MMA human cockfighting, but he was flexing the fact that his Irish whiskey Proper 12 sales have surpassed $1 billion in the U.S. And that's only in the U.S., so he's doing his thing as far as the Proper 12 is concerned. Speaking of Proper 12, I look forward to enjoying a bottle of Proper 12 when we watch UFC 239, John Jones versus Santos, Holm versus, Nunes versus Holm. She's the fucking queen, right? You gotta say her name first. Nunes versus Holm, and of course, O'Malley versus Vera. Sean O'Malley's opponent has been finalized and announced. It is Marlon Cheeto Vera. Couldn't be more fitting. Pothead gets to eat Cheeto like he's got the munchies. You know what I'm saying? What's going on, everybody? Of course, also, we're going to talk about Paulo Costa finally coming out and it being revealed that he's failed a USADA drug test. But this is interesting because you guys know that USADA doesn't announce whenever a fighter fails a drug test, right? So when do you ever announce it? Like, I get it, you don't announce it when they immediately get flagged anymore. It used to be as soon as USADA sees you got a dirty test, boom, tell the UFC, it goes public. This person, for this case, Paulo Costa, was flagged by USADA for using an IV. Now, they don't immediately announce it, but if the fighter doesn't choose to announce it, when does it become public? Like a month before? When does whenever the fighter books a fight? I don't understand that policy. I mean, I get it. You don't want to announce it as soon as a fighter is flagged to give them time to fight the case. So, I mean, maybe it's until it's officially resolved. You know, fighters have time to at least try and find the contaminated supplement before USADA will announce it. But either way, we've talked about this on this show. I mean, Yoel Romero said it first. We've seen the video multiple times. One of Paulo Costa's homies is a straight up fucking hoe. Like, this dude is a snake. When you think what happened to Paulo Costa, you almost think TJ Dillashaw because you think snake. And it's crazy. They both failed USADA drug test. That's fucking crazy. That's another reason you think TJ Dillashaw. But no, seriously. Paulo Costa had someone in his crew, got on their little fucking dirty ass cell phone, probably had a Razor from, 2008. Got on their little cell phone, man, had it in their little pocket, and they were like sideways recording. You know how you like record when you don't want somebody to know you're recording? Like, oh shit, there's about to be a fight over here. I ain't recording, you know what I mean? No, I'm just on my phone. No, but they were recording Paulo Costa in what looked like he was getting an IV. Now, Paulo Costa did not fail a drug test
as far as for a like EPO or Clomif, whatever all these fighters are felling for. He didn't fail for a contaminant. He didn't fail for a banned substance. Paulo Costa didn't get. He's not getting violated for having steroids at all in his body, even though a lot of people are like, that's immediately what you're going to assume, because he didn't pass the eye test first, and now he's failing the USADA drug test. But what he's failing it for is getting an IV. That's illegal. A lot of people use it to rehydrate, but you can also use it to mask steroids. And so with that being said, IVs are illegal as far as USADA is concerned. And he's getting flagged for an IV, not actual steroids. Now, you do have to wonder, was he using this to rehydrate, or was he using it to mask something? If he was using the IV to mask something, then that something isn't going to be masked anymore, and we'll see what happens, as far as will his body change, will he fail a drug test actually, or is it just going to be harder for him to make the weight? Either way, he used the IV, for a reason, and that's why he's filled this, got this USADA violation. But with that being said, this goes back to Yoel Romero months ago. And I just got off of work, so I'm, got a little six-pack, smoke a little bit. You know what I'm saying? We're just chilling. We're just talking MMA. This ain't nothing. This is just fans, talking MMA. So, by the way, I'm just chilling. I'm just talking. We're just chopping it up. If any of you guys want to hop on here and talk with me, let me know. We'll do the Google Hangout thing tonight, because this isn't like some scheduled show where we got to talk about something. I just got on here because I want to talk about MMA with people that know MMA. So I want to talk with you guys, especially. So if you guys want, after work, we ain't did a show since I talked to Sean O'Malley. So if you guys want to hop on here, feel free. I'll put out the link. We can do that. But back to Yoel Romero on Ariel Helwani's show months ago. He was supposed to be fighting Paulo Costa. It was that fight. It's almost like Ferguson could be. It's been booked. It wasn't booked. Someone got injured. Now it's rebooked, and then boom, boom, boom. Supposed to be booked for UFC Fort Lauderdale. This shit gets crazy, guys. Supposed to be booked UFC Fort Lauderdale, which is tomorrow. Not Jacare. He wasn't in the picture yet. Yoel Romero versus Paulo Costa. That was the intended main event. Paulo Costa gets flagged. Now we know that's the reason. He said it was like a stomach illness. He said it was a stomach illness. Clearly it was because he was flagged by USADA. So now we got, instead of Paulo Costa, you get Jacare. So you got Jacare versus Yoel Romero. That's our main event. That's still a fucking phenomenal fight. Amazing fight. Yoel versus Jacare. Winner probably fights for the title. Yoel Romero now has to pull out of the fight 3 weeks before the fight with an illness. Now, we're all MMA fans here. We've all been MMA fans for a while. We're hardcores. You wouldn't be watching this show if you're not a hardcore fan. So, when's the last time any of you, please tell me in the chat, tell me in the group chat, when's the last time any of you heard a fighter pull out of a fight with an illness, let alone 3 weeks before the fight? The closest thing I can think of is sinusitis with Amanda Nunes, and that was like right before the fight. But that was sinusitis, and it was like right before the fight. If you can't breathe right before that makes sense. But you just don't. It's rare that a fighter pulls out of in a big fight in their hometown. Could you imagine Darren Till pulling out of UFC Liverpool with a stomach illness 3 weeks out? You don't think he would try and fight through it? I mean, we've seen guys fight through staph infections and more. We've seen guys fight 3 weeks after they got dropped and choked out. At the high, we've seen a lot of shit. You don't really see guys pulling out of a fight with an illness. Like, that's all we get? And I'm only saying that because on Ariel Helwani's show, Yoel Romero months ago said that Paulo Costa he was out of the fight because of USADA. He said that's what, and I'm pretty sure he said that's what the UFC told him. He said that's what he heard. Paulo Costa can't fight him because USADA, so now he's got to fight Jacare. So, I mean, that's not really snitching. He's just saying what he heard. Hey, I heard this dude failed a drug test. That's why we can't fight. That ain't really nothing. Fast forward to Yoel Romero versus Jacare. Now Romero can't fight. Illness. 3 weeks out. On our channel. Is this fake news? I don't think so. I didn't present it as if it was real news. This is speculation. We had someone come to our channel, Full-Time MMA, and tell us, hey, I work for the labs of Vera and USADA. We just got new tests that can test for microdosing EPO. Yoel Romero, they said, allegedly, was just flagged. This was before we even knew Yoel Romero was out of his fight. Next day, Yoel Romero announces he's out of his fight with an illness. Interesting. Really interesting. The next day also, TJ Dillashaw, we find out, relinquishing his belt. EPO. What a coincidence. We report USADA has, I don't even want to say report because I'm not a fucking reporter. We speculate that USADA has new EPO test. Next day, a champion falls to EPO. Yoel's out of his fight in Miami. You guys, man, am I fucking tripping? I know I'm not. Miami? This ain't fucking St. Petersburg or, this is Miami for Yoel Romero. Where he trains, where he's from, Cuban heritage, Miami, American top team, Miami. This is probably the UFC's first event in Miami. What? This is probably up there with the title fight for Yoel Romero. As far as the location, if you could ask Yoel Romero, where would you want to fight of all places? Of course he would want to fight in Cuba. But if aside from Cuba, it's Miami. That's why I brought up Darren Till in Liverpool. It's really similar. I mean, let's say Wonder Boy was fighting anybody was fighting in their hometown. Is it his home, exactly where he's from, Cuba? No, but it's his hometown. That's where he lives. That's where he trains. That's where he eats. That's where he sleeps. That's where he hangs. Everything. So you're fighting in your hometown and you have to pull out with an illness? I mean, maybe. There's a whole lot of shit going on with USADA now, though. Fighters popping fucking left and right. Former champions, Nicco Montano, prospects, my boy. And just, my relationship with Sean O'Malley, and, I don't say it like, I'm just a YouTuber, but it is cool. I do feel like we have somewhat of a relationship. I feel like that's my boy. I don't know how he feels about me like that. As far as, I think he knows I'm cool in that sense. But now I get it. I get it why fighters aren't rah-rah about steroids and fucking just everyone can't speak out about it. People got relationships. How the fuck can I call out John Jones for being on steroids when I know 3 of the guys I train with are on that shit? When I know one of my homeboys does that shit, do I agree with it? No. But they do it. I don't agree with people using steroids in MMA. But how can I speak out against it when how can I have a stance against it, a passionate stance like, everybody that's on steroids is a piece of shit. This is dangerous. How can I say something like that when I know somebody that has failed a USADA drug test in a sense, and not, you know. So that's why I get it, why a lot of people are kind of hush-hush on the situation. There's a lot of people that are on it, but whenever fighters fall out of fights, and especially if they don't pass the eye test, isn't it crazy, you guys? I gotta say this. I just thought about this. All the fighters that people said didn't pass the eye test are starting to fail drug test. When you talk about anybody that doesn't pass the eye test, who did people come up with? TJ Dillashaw, Yoel Romero, Paulo Costa. Yoel hasn't officially failed a USADA test, but now he's in that weird injury out of a main event that was really important. You know, like denying, like he's not denying it yet because no one's speculating it really. Yoel Romero actually, after this happened with Paulo Costa, he posted a picture of John Jones, like, see you soon, boy. So, I mean, he still clearly plans on fighting. So, I don't know what's going on with Yoel still. That's still not official, but he is out of his fight with an illness 3 weeks out. But I don't know. I don't know if this is better or worse. Now, when a fighter mysteriously pulls out of a fight, you automatically assume it's USADA, especially if they look like it. How is there not more speculation on Yoel Romero? Paulo Costa, TJ Dillashaw, they're caught. Yoel Romero was just forced out of a huge fight with an illness. And USADA is popping motherfuckers. I'm talking bright prospects. Paulo Costa, Sean O'Malley, Nicco Montano, these fighters are marketable. And they are fucking John Jones. These guys are marketable. These guys sell tickets. These guys put asses in seats. These guys bring in views. These guys could sell pay-per-views, eventually at least. And they're falling to USADA. I mean, that's interesting. But a lot of fighters are, falling to this. So, I mean, where do you stand on USADA? When it comes to the John Jones situation, people lost credibility in USADA. But when you look at it like that, man, USADA is fucking getting these people. It seems. And with the John Jones thing even, it's not like they just gave him a free pass. We seen the clauses, the cooperation clauses. The only reason he's getting these Pulse and Picos and free passes and stuff like that is because he cooperated. It's not alleged. He either cooperated and could be still cooperating. I mean, I think it's fair to speculate. Who knows? Did John Jones help him find the new fucking EPO test? I don't know. I don't know. I really don't. I mean, it's fun to speculate. We got somebody in the chat spamming some weird link. We got to get that out of here. We ain't even live streaming like that. What in the fuck? Let's see. Block. Wait, block. No, I don't need to be blocking. We need to be banning. I'm on my account. What the hell? Yo, for some reason, hey, remove lizard. Can you block this guy? Given your name, can you block this guy? I'm on my stream and it's not giving me the option to like put user in timeout, block, moderate. Nothing this guy. YouTube's tripping. Offline. Let's see. If I had to guess his use for the masking, allegedly. Yeah, he's gone. Okay, he's gone. I need to refresh my stream or something. It says I'm offline up here. Didn't give me the option to block that guy. Let's see. Now it's saying we're offline. Okay, what is this? No, we're not offline. Okay, I see what's going on, guys. I know exactly what's going on. I'm signed in to full-time MMA, and so I can't block somebody on UFC Yankovic from full-time MMA. Okay. But either way, man. Ryan Condon says, I forget, why did Dos Anjos pull out of the McGregor fight? He got injured. That was a costly injury, too. Lost the McGregor fight. Went on to lose the title to Eddie Alvarez. Yeah, man, that cost us a lot, that injury. Mike Reynolds says, both Sean Shirk and TJ Dillashaw won a lot of fights on Juice. Paulo's Jacks. Brock is on ears. Well, we got to talk about this, too. I'm glad you said that. Because TJ Dillashaw, man, I don't want to bring this shit up because it's sinister, and Jeff Novinsky's kind of... I don't know if they've tested the John Lineker fight, but they did test the Cody Garbrandt fights, and they said TJ was not on EPO for those fights. Now, if it weren't for Jeff Novinsky saying that, that would be hard to believe. If Jeff Novinsky did not come out and say this was the only fight TJ was on EPO for, I would assume he was on it for all of those fights. Especially when Cody Garbrandt, months ago, a year ago, let me see the exact date. He said it must be all the EPO going to his head. What? So you have a fighter that publicly says it must be all the EPO going to his head, and you don't test him for EPO until a year later? I get it, you can't test everybody for EPO, but when you have a title contender and former teammate accusing someone of being on EPO, you can't give him the EPO test? They just give you whatever they want a lot of times. They just say whatever they want, but it is what it is. Let me Google this. Must be all the EPO going to his head. Cody Garbrandt. Let's see when this was. 2018, I think. Oh yeah, 2018 for sure. Let's see the tweet. This was in April of 2018. A year ago. So a year ago, Cody Garbrandt says, must be all the EPO going to your head. You still let this guy fight again? And you're not testing him? Like, he's not on the EPO watch list already? For one, you've had someone publicly accuse him of being on EPO, and for two, he doesn't pass the eye test. Why is... I get it. You can't test everyone for EPO. How about you only test the people that look like they're on EPO? Or how about you only test champions for EPO? Don't test Joe Schmo that you just signed. Hell, don't test your rising star prospect. I mean, if you want to be dirty about it, I don't want you to do that, but don't test your unranked guys for EPO. They're still unranked. Clearly, it's not working if they're on it. How about just title contenders and guys in title fights? That made me think, I was listening to the Big Brown Breakdown at work today. You guys, somebody heard our idea and fucking sent it into Big Brown. You guys remember when I was going on my rant about Colby Covington? I'm about to like this, babe. You guys remember when I was going on my rant about Colby Covington and the fucking belt and how it pisses me off and how it's an interim title and he wears it like it's a real belt and that thing should fucking be silver? That way, if it was silver, people would know that's a fake fucking belt. Swear to God, I was listening to the most recent of the Big Brown Breakdown. Someone asked, should interim belts be silver? Like, oh, that's interesting that question just came up. But no, I just thought about, we just talked about that. That's why I said that. I think someone sent that into the Big Brown Breakdown and they answered it. So, I think interim belts should definitely be silver. Now, let's continue on with the show. We've talked about USADA enough, and Paulo Costa, and allegedly maybe Yoel Romero, and all of that. Let's kind of touch on the first topic a little bit of Conor McGregor and Proper 12, and then also him calling MMA human cockfighting. It's just interesting because you would think, I mean, and Conor does whatever the fuck he wants, in a sense. So he's going to kind of say whatever the fuck, and we definitely know he says whatever the fuck he wants, and it's, especially when it comes to the trash talk recently. But aren't you trying to be a partner with the UFC? Why would you devalue its brand? When you call MMA human cockfighting, you are devaluing the sport. We just got on ESPN, and now you want to call it human cockfighting. All right. And like the UFC used to not even be able to get in. I mean, there's a lot of places they couldn't get into, but I'm just saying recently, it was just a big deal the UFC could get back in New York, period. Then they get on ESPN, making big strides. They went a long way to get people away from thinking this was human cockfighting. And then you got one of the biggest fighters ever. Like, this is essentially what we do is human cockfighting. Okay, if you say so. I'm just, don't you want to be a partner? Don't you want to be like, have a percentage in the UFC? And maybe they're not giving it to you, so you're like, fuck it. But, yeah, I just thought it was interesting because it's kind of like demoting. I seen, he's not my boy, but somebody that is fucking awesome in the MMA sphere. Paulie G, he does a lot of artwork for MMA and breakdowns of potential and future fights. He was talking about how, he was like vowing to promote fights only and not like demote fights. I'm only going to promote fights. There's enough people that demote them. And that's what I thought of when I saw this, because it's kind of like you're demoting it. When you're calling MMA human cockfighting, you're taking away from, you're setting the sport back, you know what I'm saying, years. It's like this one tweet isn't going to change everyone's opinion, but saying shit like this is human cockfighting would set the sport back. He said that though while, celebrating his Irish whiskey sales. So this could be a play. This could be really a shot at the UFC. Am I looking too far into this? Maybe, but hear me out. My fucking Proper 12 Irish whiskey is doing so well. But of course it is. I turned human cockfighting into 4.2. Of course I can turn my whiskey into 1 billion. I turned human cockfighting into 4.2. So he's letting the UFC know I can make this money by myself now. Just off whiskey, Conor McGregor is set. He don't have to fight ever again. When you're 1 billion sales in the US. Unless your brand takes a turn for the worse, which is possible. These sexual assault allegations and all of this shit going on with McGregor. I mean, you would think more if you keep going down that path, that could definitely hurt your brand as far as your whiskey. But to call MMA human cockfighting, I'm sure the UFC's not happy about that. I'm sure Conor McGregor's not happy about not getting his shares. We know he wants a piece of the pie. He's not happy about that. And so this almost seems like he's flexing on the UFC. When you call, the UFC definitely can't be happy about you calling this human cockfighting. So, and at the same time, you're kind of flexing the fact that I can sustain on my own. I literally am hitting, records and in my whiskey business, I'm fucking thriving. My whiskey is thriving. 1 billion in the U.S. That's just the U.S. So McGregor's doing well. How's it going? I'm him 247 Royal Pain said I saw that today. Big full-time shop was like, damn, that's a good idea. That's what I'm saying. You heard that too? I listened to that at work today. And I'm not gonna lie, you know how like Max Holloway, everyone gave it to him that it is what it is. MMA Quick Hits was the one in the MMA community that was always saying it is what it is. Once he kind of got kicked off of YouTube and went to Patreon, that's when the whole Max Holloway it is what it is shit came in. Before Max Holloway fought Ricardo Lamas and a lot of these iconic fights, he wasn't saying that it is what it is all the time. That wasn't a thing. It was, so I give props where it's due. Whether or not I get mine, but it is what it is. All right, let's move on to. We've talked about McGregor. We've talked about USADA, Paulo Costa, TJ, maybe Yoel. Talk about Jacare Souza risking his career when he's fighting Jack Hermansson tomorrow, because he is. A lot of people don't know it. They know who Jacare is, but they don't have near as much respect for him and his resume as they should. I'll pull it up. I mean, before the UFC, a lot of, there's UFC fans that never watched Strikeforce and, don't really know much about a lot of these fighters before they came to the UFC. But Jacare was already fighting the best fighters in the world before he came to the UFC. And he's been fighting the best fighters in the world since. And I'm talking the highest fucking level. The highest of highest levels. If Jacare Souza spoke English his whole career, like, that's the only thing it is. I mean, in Brazil, I'm sure he's a legend. Like, I know he is. He actually, like, his family is actually, like, family royalty, kind of. So, but this dude, his fighting resume, he's got one of those resumes you respect, like, like the Gegard Mousasi type resumes, the Cowboy Cerrone resume, the Jorge Masvidal resume, the Paul Daly resume, like the dudes that fucking went through the grind and succeeded and beat the highest level of guys. That's what a Jacare is. Look, let's take a scroll on back. He has a fucking win over Gegard Mousasi. Enough said. But even in the Strikeforce, he was fighting Luke Rockhold, Derek Brunson, Ed Herman. This is before the UFC. Tim Kennedy, Gegard Mousasi, Jason Miller. Even, I mean, he from the beginning, he never came into this cherry picking fights. He's fucking 11-2 fighting a guy that's 27-6. He's 10-2 fighting a guy, Matt Lindland, 21-6. Jacare has never fucked around, and he went on all through these years, 39 years old now, and he's still fucking beating Derek Brunson, Kelvin Gastelum. You could give that decision to him if you wanted. It was a split decision in Brazil. I thought Jacare's hand was getting raised because he actually almost, it looked like, won the third round. I literally thought he was about to win the fight, and somehow it was close. It was close. But the fact that it was in Brazil, you assumed it was going to Jacare. He could be on a 3-fight winning streak. He just fucking beat Chris Weidman. Finished Chris Weidman in his last fight. I almost forgot about that shit. I thought he was coming off of a split decision loss over Gastelum. He beat Weidman after that. This Weidman just he can ragdoll half of the top middleweights in half the fucking light heavyweights. Some of these middleweights are going up to light heavyweight. Weidman can ragdoll half the guys in the top 5 of the middleweight division. Jacare's 39 years old finishing him. I mean, Jacare is a fucking legend. And, he don't got the UFC gold yet. So it's like, until you get UFC gold, you can't officially claim legend status. But, man, he should be. Like, as far, like Jorge Masvidal. Like, are they going to be in the UFC Hall of Fame? Who gives a fuck? They're legends. I mean, in my mind. Jacare, and so he's fighting Jack Hermansson now. He's supposed to be fighting Yoel. Now he's fighting Jack Hermansson, and it's a tough fight. But with all that being said, Jacare is putting his career at risk here because he's 39 years old. He might not get another opportunity after this if he loses this short notice fight. It's not a marquee fight. It's not a big name. He's not making a bunch of money. If he loses this fight, he might not get another big opportunity. And if he wins this fight, he's not guaranteed a title shot. He did say he'll wait because the UFC promised him a title shot. He said, if I win this fight, I will wait on it. I'll wait on the title shot. But he can't wait too long. You know, he's 39. But he would have to wait. He fought 3 fights when he was 38 years old. 3 fights that year. There's guys that are fucking 29 that fight once a year. Especially top contenders waiting on a title shot. Jacare's out here, you know, risking it. He's risking it for the biscuit. He's putting it all on the line. And he's doing that again this weekend when he fights Jack Hermansson. Because if he loses this fight, it's going to be probably Yoel versus somebody. They want to, you know, like, you already got Whitaker versus Adesanya. You got the politics. If one of them gets hurt in that fight, like, what happens? What if it's close? Is it a rematch? What if there's, you know, like, there's a million things that could get in Jacare's way. And now he's taking this fight against Jack Hermansson, who's extremely dangerous, and he's taking it on short notice. It's not just one fight, and it's because he's 39 years old. He might never get another shot again. He don't got 5 years to get back to the title, or 3 years, or 2 years to lose one and then have to win 2 or 3. He don't got time for that. So if he loses this fight, you know, he might never get that UFC title shot. And that would be fucked up because, like I said, he's a legend. Jay Skills in the building, my dog. What's going on, Jay Skills? Pyrotechniques in here says Jacare is one scary dude, man. Jacare is just like one of those dudes I respect on that Jorge Masvidal level. And just because he's been putting in the work for a long time, even before the UFC and high-level competition. I respect Jacare like on that Jorge Masvidal level. Sean O'Malley versus Marlon Vera set for UFC 239 in July. Let's motherfucking go. I cannot wait. I don't give a damn about none of it. I'm telling you guys, it's like this dude's literally like one of them, like one of my people. Like, he's not, you know, like, I look out for him like he's one of my fucking people. Like, he's my boy. Regardless of everything, I'm rooting for this dude. Like, even outside of the UFC, I don't give a damn if he wins this fight, loses this fight. I do want to see him succeed. But this is a great matchup with Marlon Vera. We've seen Marlon Vera fight John Lineker. He's not ready for like the top, 5, top 10, but he is a skilled fighter. Marlon Vera is a really fucking good fighter. This is a tough test for Sean O'Malley. And it is interesting his nickname is Cheeto, because we know Sean O'Malley likes to smoke a lot of weed. And you know when you get the weed, you get the munchies. And you know you like to smash Cheetos when you got the munchies. So that's what we're going for in this fight. This is going to be a good fight. UFC 239. It's a stacked card. You got John Jones versus Thiago Santos, Holly Holm, Amanda Nunes, Ben Askren, Jorge Masvidal. I mean, it's going to be a fight. I mean, we're all going to be watching this card regardless. But the opponent is official. It is Marlon Vera. It is Marlon Vera, and that is a tough test. If I know O'Malley's looking for the finish, submission, whether it's submission or knockout, that's one thing he has been gunning for. So, yeah, man, we'll definitely be looking forward to that fight. Jay Skills is salute full-time fam. O'Malley is official full-time MMA fams. That card is stacked. That shit is stacked, bro. Nicco Montano releases a statement on her USADA suspension, hoping for a summer return. This is unfortunate. Nicco Montano did fail a USADA drug test. I don't think this is why she couldn't fight Valentina. I don't know if the timeline matches up. It would make sense. I mean, why would you start taking steroids after you're not fighting Valentina anymore? You know what I'm saying? Or I mean, not even if that's the case. A lot of these are really, all of these 4 cases, Sean O'Malley, Nicco, and the other 2 people, Marvin Vittori, I think, was he one of them? And then one other guy. I think they were all trace amounts. And what does that mean? You know what I'm saying? It could be microdosing, whatever. We're not going to go into that. But with that being said, uh, for Nicco Montano's case, when it comes to the Valentina Shevchenko fight, it would clearly make sense. You're about to fight the best pound for pound, one of, not now Amanda Nunes, one of the best pound for pound fighters on the planet, Valentina Shevchenko. Everyone's counting you out. Everyone's doubting you. It seems like everyone already hates you. A lot of fucking pressure. And a lot of times when you got a lot of pressure, especially when it's a huge opportunity, you know, sometimes, and sometimes cheating fucking pays. It's facts. I mean, if you, clearly, for TJ Dillashaw's case, you know, Cody Garbrandt accused him of being on EPO last year, right? That's when Cody made the accusation. That's only when he made the accusation. So if he already knew that, when he said that, that means he knew it from prior knowledge. That means probably from back when TJ Dillashaw was on Team Alpha Male. He's, to be fair, never passed the eye test. Cody had knowledge of the EPO. Cody said you tried to show everyone how to use steroids when you were at Team Alpha Male. Was that when it was EPO or was it something else back then? Who knows? But whenever he made that statement last year, he said EPO. So if we didn't have Jeff Novinsky's statement, it would be easy to assume TJ Dillashaw has been on EPO specifically for a long time. And that's really fucked up when you think about his fight with John Lineker, because John Lineker is 8-1 in his last 9 fights. His only loss is to TJ Dillashaw. He would have potentially had a title fight, which is life-changing, and he got his jaw broken in that fight. So you lose a life-changing opportunity and get your jaw broke by someone that's probably cheating in the fight. That's fucked up. That's real fucked up. But with that being said, Jeff Novinsky has came out and said it wasn't in his fight for Cody. It wasn't. Now, I don't know. We'll wait until the Yoel Romero, news comes out if he gets booked in a fight and stuff. But if they have new tests that detect microdosing of EPO, I mean, just talking here. If somebody knew how to microdose EPO 5 years ago and they're just getting the test, you could have been on it for a long time. So it would make sense. But a lot of people are, former champions, current champions, bright prospects. A lot of people are falling to USADA, and they'll be coming back. But you never know really how someone's going to be. If these people, any of them, even my boy, man, if Nicco Montano, Sean O'Malley, Marvin Vettori, Paulo Costa, if any of these guys were using steroids for an advantage and now they've failed a drug test, they're not going to be as good in their next fight. We'll see. And it is what it is. But hey, we'll move on to the next topic. Artem Lobov on Paulie Malignaggi. I find it hard to even worry about this fight. Artem, if it was MMA, I would completely agree. But Artem's actually got a lot to worry about here, you guys. A lot. And Paulie Malignaggi, he's not I'm not the biggest fan. Because it's Team MMA. But this is a boxing fight. I'm rooting for the GOAT. I do think he can pull it off if he decides to go, full power level. I'm talking over 9,000. But this is why I'm worried about Artem in this fight specifically. For one, he was just in a bare-knuckle brawl, war. He's got to have a lot of scar tissue and cuts that are just healing up. How hard can you really train or spar? Maybe you don't feel like you need to. But how hard can you really go in training for this fight when you've got to heal up your fucking cuts? You can't get punched in the face a bunch of times and prepare for this professional boxer, because this is a boxing match. If this was MMA and your face was busted up, you could just take him down and boom, it's over. But this is a boxing match. So, Artem probably should be a little more worried about Paulie in this fight. But Artem is a fucking savage. I mean, and that's one thing he is. He don't avoid fights. He don't duck fades. He don't fucking pad his records. He fights the toughest fights. He'll even do it in bare knuckle 2 months after he had a bare knuckle fight. I mean, this dude is a warrior. That's one thing you got to say about Artem. That's probably why Conor McGregor really rolls with him, because he's down for whatever, and he's a fucking savage. So, with that being said, that is all I got for today's show. So with that being said, I'm going to upload it to the main channel. And tomorrow, or today if you're listening to this, we will be doing live streaming for the fight companion, or for the fights tonight. We're going to be doing a fight companion. We're going to be doing it here on YouTube, of course, on UFC Yankovic, but also on sportsbooth.tv/fulltime MMA. They've got new technology over there to where you can watch the fight companion with the fight on the same screen. You can literally link, if you have ESPN Plus or DAZN or whatever you've got, you link it to your Sports Booth account, and it will bring up the fight with the companion right beside it on your screen. They're doing innovative shit over there at sportsbooth.tv with fight companions and just sports companions. So we are, operating over there. So make sure you give us a follow on sportsbooth.tv. Much appreciated. And we'll be back for the fight companion, UFC Fort Lauderdale. You got Jacare versus the Joker, Jack Hermansson. It's going to be some great fights. I mean, Gary Hardy, I'm not excited about that. But, hey, these dudes are going to bang, too. You got Mike Perry versus Cowboy Oliveira. That's going to be a great fight. So make sure you tune in. With that being said, it is what it is. Let the full-time family know what you think in the comments. I'm out.